Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good night to wherever you are around the world. Hello to another edition of the Ask the Future show. This is a quick video about the review for last week's game, that disappointing 1-0 loss to Liverpool up at Anfield. And I predicted, that's why I said I predicted a draw. I didn't think we were going to win that game because we haven't won up at Anfield for such a long time. It's been, I think, 13 years. And funny enough, when we last won up there, Arteta was playing for us in midfield, and so I knew that it was going to be difficult to win up there. And even if though Liverpool started the season a bit off the pace, they're still the favourites to win it, and they're still the champions, of course, to retain their crown, their Premier League crown. But it was a 1-0 loss. Dominic Szoboszlai, who played as a right back, who has been playing as a right back also for Liverpool the last few games, came up from the back and scored a thunderous free kick, one of the best free kicks for a long time we've seen, with about 82 minutes on the clock. So that was almost before the end of the match. Arsenal offered very, very little. We offered very little. And when I saw the lineups, and a lot of people, a lot of Arsenal fans and football fans in general, have been speaking about this throughout the whole week, that we didn't see much at all in terms of forward play. I think we only had one shot on target. Unbelievable. And also Eze was on the bench. And when we saw the lineup, and when I saw the lineup as well last week, 1 hour before the match, when I saw that Mourinho was playing as a left, he was playing as a right eight. So he's playing as an attacking eight, along with Declan Rice on the other side, and he had, of course, Zubimendi sitting. When I saw that, I already knew that it was going to be a difficult game because, Mourinho, since he's been with Arsenal, since he came last year, he hasn't really played well in midfield. He's played well as a makeshift forward. When Kai Havertz was out a bit last season, we didn't have any forwards, and we played him as a forward, as a makeshift forward, and he done quite well for us when he came off the bench, or when he started, he looked quite good up there. And even for Spain, he plays just off the striker. He plays almost as a second striker for Spain, so I was told, because I've not seen Spain lately. I don't think I've watched Spain since they won the Euros last summer, but I've got a friend who watches all the games, and he tells me that he plays as a second striker, just behind the main striker for Spain. I think he plays just off Lamal, or if it was Morata, he plays just off him. But I've not seen Spain for such a long time. But when I saw that, I knew that it was going to be difficult. When I looked at the lineup, and I thought Miles Lewis-Skelly would play as a left back, but Calafiori's played quite well for us at left back this season, and he got the nod. I wasn't, and so fair enough. He's very good at going, marching up and down that left wing and joining the attack. In actual fact, he joins more of the attack, considering he's a defensive player, more than Mourinho does, and even Declan Rice. Declan Rice is always standing and sitting while we're going forward. So we had less people going forward, and that means that when we were going forward, we didn't have anybody. Let's just say Martinelli, who didn't play that well, and Madueke was quite good for us on the right hand side in Saka's absence. When we were going forward, we didn't have anybody to pass it to. Jokros was up there on his own, but sometimes we didn't have anybody to pass it to. And then even when we got into good positions, we wasted the pass. The passes went astray. I saw a bit of the highlights of the match, and it looked like when we were going forward, we didn't have any ideas what to do with the ball. We're playing with the hand as usual for the last year. We've been playing with the handbrake on, and that's something that Mikel Arteta's got to sort out. A lot of the guys who support us, and even football fans in general, critiquing Arsenal, were saying that we've got to really, Arteta's got to really look at this and come again with something more attacking for Arsenal in terms of going forward and creating chances, because it's been one of our biggest problems, chance creation. A lot of people gone back to the 22-23 season. That was about 3 seasons ago, when we're playing excellent football with Gabriel Jesus there. We had, Zinchenko inverting. Xhaka was there as well at that time. And our passes were meant for each other. Our passes were together. Everything was so cohesive and so straightforward and attacking. We were a very dangerous side, and I thought we could have won the league that year. Of course, City came, at the end of it. We lost Saliba, and when we lost Saliba, then that derailed our season. But that season, we were looking really menacing up until about say March. Then after March, when we had Saliba injured, City beat us 3-1 at the Emirates, and then we just went off the rails. And then the following season, that's 23-24 season, so that's a couple of seasons ago. We looked good again, but again we fell off. So really, I think the last 3 seasons, we could have won one Premier League. Some say we could have won two Premier Leagues. We could have won one Premier League. I think if we won one Premier League, and the fan base would have been more settled and would have been much more calmer than they are now, and we'll all be calmer, myself included. We'll all be calmer now, and we'll be saying about Arteta that what he's won an FA Cup, even though he won an FA Cup, it wasn't his team, wasn't his players, and he's actually, since he's built his team, since he's been given £1 billion to spend by the owners who have backed him, and I'm not the biggest fan of the owners, but they backed him, and he's been given literally £1 billion to spend over the last 4 seasons. I think it's 4 seasons, but we're building since 2021, really, since COVID, since the FA Cup win, just after that. And he's gotten over the line once with one Premier League, and maybe we could have gotten to a final. Maybe we got into a Carabao Cup final. We could have won a Carabao Cup in that time. We could have won another FA Cup. We might have gotten to a Champions League final. Let's even say we might even have won the Champions League. Because we're a big club. We should have won one of those big ass cup already. But to not even get to a final, to get close to, well, we were challenging City for 2 seasons, and then last season we fell off. We didn't even challenge Liverpool last season because Liverpool won it by 10 points. And I don't even think Liverpool were their best. And it wasn't Liverpool, when they won it by surprise because City were expected to win it again. And then even people were saying that, okay, City fell off, so Arsenal should now come in and win this. So we didn't. We allowed the surprise element, which was Arne Slot, who came in and replaced Klopp, to win the Premier League with Liverpool. And then that for our supporters, and that's why a lot of us are now, I've got to say, are calling for the manager's head. They're calling for Mikel Arteta's head. And so, and I've been saying for 2 seasons now that I personally think that we need a new manager. Because I like Mikel Arteta as a person, but as a manager, he's not the guy to take us over the line. And so I think you see this season, I didn't back us to win the league. Look how much money we spent. We spent close to £300 million, and we're nowhere closer to winning the league. And so he's got to look at the way he's playing. He's playing too defensive. Look at how we've got Saliba and Gabriel in the centre. We've got Timber on the right side. Sometimes he can play left, but on the right side. On the left side, we've got Calafiore, and we've got Miles Lewis-Kelly. Now we've brought in Nkapeke, which I'll talk about maybe tomorrow. Because since we've signed him, I've not spoken about him. I've not been on the stream. So I said, I've got to come in there now and do something. And I've got to have a shower soon, and I've got to go out again because I've got to look after my auntie who's not well. And so, yeah, and so at the same time, and so we've got a wonderful base, wonderful defence. We've got a good goalkeeper, David Raya. And look who we've got there sitting. We've got Declan Rice, who stayed back against Liverpool. I've seen some clips against Liverpool, and he was always, out of all of our midfielders, forgetting our defenders, he's always sitting there so that he can break up the transition from Liverpool. Even Zubimendi was going forward, but Deckers was sitting. And so we've got a wonderful defensive base. We've had that wonderful defensive base for 3 seasons now. So we shouldn't worry about conceding and so on. Even if we concede possession, we've got players who could get back and defend that well, defend for opposition dangers well. But I don't know why the manager is so cautious. Ever since the first season where we challenged City, the 22-23 season, when we came off near the end, we fell off the rails near the end. Ever since then, he's got very defensive, and there's no need for that. We need to, because you're going to stifle players like Eze, who was on the bench, who should have started. Ranieri, he was really screwing his face up because he was on the bench. And then you got Max Dowman, now a young kid. I know you can't play him too much because he's very young and his body's still developing. You need him to, he will come in and cause havoc like he has been doing in pre-season. And even the game against Leeds last week, he did, week before last, 2 weeks ago, he did that. So you don't want to start for these players. You don't want to coach the natural flair out of these players. You've got to let them express themselves. You're gonna let them go forward and let them score and create, etc., etc. And you hope he's not coaching all the great elements, the great talent, and the great flair of these guys because it won't be good, and the fans will get in his back. And as ready as it is at the moment, a lot of fans who I know and fans who I see in the media and on social media, they want him gone because they're saying that he's holding us back. And he's not won anything with all this £1 billion he's spent, which the Conkeys have backed him with. He's not won anything, and he doesn't look close to winning anything. So he's had these 2 weeks now since the international break to think about things. Let's hope that when we come back against, I think it's Nottingham Forest at the Emirates next week. Let's hope that he's more, of course we're at home against a good team, but not a title challenging team, but they're a good team and they've done well last season. Let's hope that when we come back next week against Nottingham Forest at the Emirates, that we're more expressive in how we're, whoops, yeah, sorry, in how we're playing going forward, And let's just hope that we're more expressive in how we're going forward, and that we're seeing more. We're not seeing the handbrake corners much, but we're seeing our flair plays playing to the best of their capabilities, and that it's not too defensive. He's so overly cautious and worried about that. There's no need for that. No need for that whatsoever. And it's hope that we can get Gokuras, we can play him in, we can give him chances, because we know that he's a clinical striker. He's one of the most clinical strikers in the world, And it's hope that we can get him cooking, and the attacking players. I want to see an attacking lineup next week. I know Saliba's out, but I think this Mosquera guy, he's looking like a Rolls Royce. He's looking like a mini Saliba himself. And so let's just hope that next week we can he can excite Arteta's lineup, and the way he wants to play the game can excite the fans again. We played against Leeds and we scored 5 goals a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know if some of you watched the game in the first 40 minutes. The first 35, 40 minutes, we didn't look good at all. We looked like a team of strangers, And then when Timber scored, and then it lifted up a bit, but we've got to be very careful because, this is the last. I personally think this is the last season to have a go at this title. Otherwise, you'll be sacked. And I kind of have a soft spot for Arteta because he played for us, captained us, but I care about Arsenal more than how I care about Arteta. And if he's not the man, he's not the man. And I don't think he's the man, personally speaking. I think we need a new manager. Someone like Luis Enrique, or someone like Antonio Conte, who I wanted when Wenger left. But he was at Chelsea, but I wanted him, and someone like who can win. I remember that this might be Pep's last season at Man City. Why don't we go for Pep? Because I wanted Pep when before he went to Bayern Munich 10 years ago. That when Wenger should have went about 20, he should have went about 2014. I wanted Pep then, but Pep was at Bayern Munich. Ancelotti's gone to manage the Brazilian national team, so he's a bit too late. We can't get him, but we do need a change. We definitely need a change. If he doesn't win anything this season, I want to say I want the Premier League. Or if we can't win the Premier League, I want the Champions League. And if we don't win those two, if he was to win, say, 2 cups, if he was to win, say, the League Cup and the FA Cup and get very far in the Champions League, say semi-final or even a final, and get to or get very close in the league, and they lose it by a point or two, then I think he might be given a second chance. And I think to win 2 cups, get far in the Champions League, and then they lose the league by a point or two, that's not too bad. But some will still say now he has to go because he still hasn't delivered the league and he still hasn't delivered the Champions League. So that's what I'm on about, and that's what we're all on about as Arsenal fans. The ones of us who love Arsenal and the ones of us who care about Arsenal want to see us win trophies, But the game last week was a poor game. We didn't play well at all. I don't think Liverpool played well. They were there for the taking, and I think if Arsenal were on it, if Arteta released the handbrake, we could have won that game. Arsene Wenger, even now, if he was in charge with the players at his disposal, he would have went up there and won that game last week. I think even Emery would have won the game last week with these players at his disposal. Because our squad is now a super squad, and we're going to be doing a show soon about the strength of our squad. So we've got some shows. We've got a couple of shows for next week. One about Inkapeke, if that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry for all of you, Ecuadorians. If I butchered his name, I apologize about that. So one about him, and then we're going to do another one about the strength of our squad, and so on. And we're going to do another one actually about our transfer window, all the signs we made and how they fit in, and if they're good enough for us to do some stuff this season. Like as I said, I don't think we'll win the league, but at least get close to winning the league and maybe doing something in the Champions League and winning the cup. So that's probably three different programs in a week. So look out for them. Yeah. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for those of you who've actually subscribed already thus far. 35. We've been on 35 for about a year. But that's because we're not posted, and that's because we're not uploaded. But fair enough. But we're back now. We've been back for the last 3 weeks since the start of the season. So get liking the videos, leave your comments down below as always, and subscribe to the channel and spread the word, please. And that's all for now. So you take care of yourselves and enjoy the break. And we're back next week again. Next week again, it's Nottingham Forest. I think it's a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. So we're going to come with a review. Not review. We're going to come with a review after the match, but before the match, we're going to come with a preview of the match. So look out for the preview. That will be about Friday, because Saturday is an early kickoff. So we try and do it Friday to give you guys some time to read, to take in the preview, and to leave your comments. And to, of course, as I said, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Take care of yourselves. Adios.